Hey, it's Mark Washington, MTC Media here in Charlottesville. Clemson 71, Virginia 58. A game that started off so promising for Virginia as they took an early 10-point lead. McNeely led the Cavaliers with 16 points and 3 rebounds for Clemson. It was just a combination of inside. Ian Shefflin, 21 points, 13 rebounds. A lot of his damage came in the second half. And then we have Victor Locken, who had 14 points and 8 rebounds. And I felt like he was more impactful in the first half of this game. Early on, UVA was able to get all kinds of penetration via the dribble. The screening game was on point. The Cavaliers jumped out to a quick 15-7 lead on the strength of a 13-1 run. Things just looked like it was a continuation of what happened down in Winston-Salem against Wake Forest before, Clemson kind of responded, as you expect for them, to 6-0 run by Clemson. And eventually, as the first half wore on, Clemson started getting more into their game, even though Virginia led 32-27 at halftime. McNeely had 11 points in that first half, and Locken and Shefflin combined for 17 points. But the big stat was 20 of Clemson's 27 first half points came in the paint, and that ended up being a recurrent theme. Both teams coming out in the second half started a little slow, but then Cavaliers scored 5 quick points on a 2 and a 3, a 2 by Rhodey, and then a 3 for McNeely, and then Clemson responded with 5 of their own. And even though UVA was still up, you could kind of see the game was starting to change. It kind of quickened up a bit. I thought that Clemson was able, or decided to, however you want to put it, get more physical with the guards coming up the floor and not allowing Virginia to get into their stuff without there being some sort of consternation generated. And I thought that sort of took Virginia out of the rhythm that they were in. Eventually, Clemson went on an 8-0 run, giving them a lead, a 40-39 lead. That was at the 14-10 mark, and they did not look back. That lead ended up growing to a 15-0 run, 22 run overall. And, Virginia pushed back. They couldn't get the lead back, but they pushed back. They got back-to-back threes from Rhodey and Saunders, got the game down to 47-45. But frankly, Clemson was just too much inside. They pushed the lead back up to 8 and then used an 8-0 run, 13-2 overall, push it up to 14 points, to 64-50, and that pretty much ended, really the competitive part of this game. And I think that the story, and I know the story in the post-game presser with both of the head coaches, was Clemson 48 points in the paint, Virginia 24. Clemson was 1 for 10 from threes. The only 3 they hit was Zachary in one of the big second half runs. He ended up making a corner 3. But besides that, they had really taken away that spot on the floor. And if you watch my pregame, I had said, make Clemson play outside in. Make them 3-point. And I know they are 4th in the ACC in 3-point shooting. But if you want to beat Clemson with Virginia's roster, you have to make Clemson start at 3 and then come in 2 levels, and not start at 2s in the paint and come out 2 levels. Big difference in there. And, that's easier said than done. I mean, this coaching staff does a well of a job. We can all talk about what we want to do, but then you have to execute and have to have the roster and those type of things to get it going and to be able to take those things away. There's a reason why Clemson's in the top 15 in the country. And as I said in my pregame, they're a second weekend team in March, and if they get the right matchups, they could be a Final Four team, but definitely a second weekend team in March. So for Virginia, the effort's still there. The execution at times isn't. I thought Clemson, when Virginia was playing well, they allowed Clemson to have too much room to by the foul line extended, and they could run their high-low actions. Locken did a great job of one dribble, get to the front of the rim in the first half when things were going well for Virginia. So it's just taking those things away. You can't take away everything from good teams, and we all know that. That's why they're good teams. But for Virginia, you could just see it's like they're a play short. They're a player short. Just short. They're not as far away as people think they are. but we're also in March, and the roster is what it is. So, great coming down here to UVA. I'm going to have to cut the post game short. I have a long ride to DC so I can make it to Georgetown, Marquette tonight, where I will cover that. That is an 8 o'clock tip. So you will see me at Cap 1 later tonight. It's Marcus Washington for MTC Media.